Hey everyone, this is a review of Ego's 2236SP mower. This is their new 22-inch super composite deck version that comes with a 10 amp hour battery with a single battery slot. Now last year I did a 3-year follow-up review on this 2135SP mower. I've been very happy with it. It made it through last year. It's 4th year just fine. And I was not planning on upgrading, but Ego reached out to me this year and asked if I wanted to review their 2236 model. And I said, yeah, fine, and I'll compare it to the old one and kind of give you an idea of what the differences are between the 800 series and the 1000 series. All right, so some quick stats with this super composite 22-inch mower. This one has higher torque. It's got 10.6 foot-pounds of torque. That is more than any gas mower I have used, and it is very apparent. I've mowed through very thick grass with this, over 9 inches tall. It had rained for like 2 weeks straight and hadn't had a chance to mow. And when I got ready to mow, there was just huge amounts of grass I had to cut through, and this thing didn't even miss a beat. I put it on turbo and it cut right through it. Its blade speed is higher. It's 3,200 RPM. That combined with a 22-inch mowing deck, you've got a little bit more tip speed on those blades. You get a lot more suction and a lot better cut, and you've got plenty of power to make that blade rotate even through thick grass. Let's cover the features this thing has. First of all, it's got the same standard grab one handle, and you can set it, unlock the handle, and it goes into 1, 2, or 3 heights. So once you've got this locked in on the height setting you want, you can go ahead and extend the handle. That's something else they've changed with this one. Instead of having 2 separate locks you have to do, there's one in the center. Extend it and lock it back in. If you don't have it locked all the way out, the blade won't start. That's a safety feature, so it won't start when it's stowed and upright. So the first thing you'll probably want to adjust on this is cut height. It goes from 1.5 to 4 inches. I usually run mine on setting 3 out of 8. And to adjust this, you just go pull it out and move it down. It does all 4 wheels at the same time. Very easy to do. If you're going all the way up to 8, you probably want to grab this handle right here and just give it a little bit of a help. But it's pretty easy to adjust back and forth. Now, one thing that's different with this model versus the 800 series is instead of a mulching plug that you have to remove if you want to bag or reinsert if you want to mulch, this one has a slider that gives you adjustability on how much you bag versus how much you mulch. So I pretty much always mulch on mine, but if you want to bag, you turn it up here, and I'll show you what that looks like up underneath the deck. All right, so right now I've got it set in bagging mode. You can see this is open right here, and we'll go out the back. We can go ahead and move it up a little bit at a time, and you see this whole assembly rotates around and closes that off when you've got it in mulch. This does a really good job of containing it, and it doesn't really catch grass that much. There's maybe just a tiny little bit it catches at either end. Now, if you want to bag your grass, you go ahead and instead of having to deal with the mulching plug, you just move this back to bag and then lift up on the rear flap right here. And you've got hooks that go on over top, that goes on metal, which I like. That's nice and sturdy, and it just closes down. This has a good ability to shoot most of the grass all the way to the back of the bag. I got pretty even coverage when I tested bagging. There wasn't any clumping up at the front here. It was getting it all the way to the back. Now, one big improvement Ego has made in the side discharge is how this whole thing attaches and how much space you have to discharge. So you've got this, it goes in this little connector right here, pops up over the same rail the grass bag goes on, and then this is held in place by the top flap. So with that, you've got all of this right here. It's deflecting it so it doesn't hit you, but all of this space for grass to come out. And I've used this on very thick, dense grass, and it has worked great. It doesn't clog up at all. Now, in contrast, here is the 2135. And this is not too much of an issue since I never use this thing, but look how ridiculously small this discharge chute is. It is going to clog up when you've got thick, heavy grass because it's smaller than what's coming out of the back of the mower. It also goes to the right side instead of the left. That's not a big deal, but this is a very poor design on the 2135, which I pointed out in my original review. It's much better for the 1000 series mowers on their grass discharge out of the side. Now, they are calling this the new super composite deck, which makes me believe this is probably a glass-filled polymer, probably polypropylene. I believe their old deck is just regular polypropylene, so they've added something to make this one a little bit stiffer. All right, just to give you an idea of what those different height adjustments look like, this is on the high setting. I'm pretty short, I'm 5'3", so this is way too tall for me, this is uncomfortable. But if you're taller, that's probably gonna be a good height for you. Here's the second setting in the middle. This is actually what I use to mow. I find it very comfortable. And then if you're shorter than me, which not many people are, you've got down here. So you've got plenty of options on height. You will be a little bit farther from the mower the lower you put this just because of the angle, but I think they have a good range of adjustability depending on whatever your height is. Now this is a select cut mower, and what that means is you can change blades based on what operation you're doing. It comes with a mulching blade and it comes with a high lift bagging blade. They're pretty easy to swap out. You just got these 3 bolts in the center. You just need a socket and a torque wrench to do that. And it's a pretty simple process. So I pretty much leave this bagging blade installed on my mowers 100% of the time. With the 2135, I only run it with a bagging blade because the mulching blade doesn't provide quite enough suction to give you a good cut quality. With the mulching blade installed on the 2135, I found I had a lot of stragglers, and sometimes I'd end up with little mohawk strips that didn't get cut when I had long, wet grass. It just didn't have the suction power to pull that up and lift and cut it. This one has a lot more suction because it's turning at a faster RPM with these blades, and I haven't really had any problems with stragglers or mohawks with this, especially with the high lift blade. And when I started, I did one pass with the mulching blade, and I was cutting through very thick grass, and I had a few stragglers with the mulching blade to start with, and I just went ahead and knew that was a thing that I did with the high lift blade on the 2135 mower, so I switched to this right away. It does great mulching or bagging, so I just leave this in 100% of the time. If I want to cut up a bunch of leaves and get them really finely mulched, that might be the only time I install the mulching blade. But otherwise, I'd recommend you just run with the bagging blade because it just gives you a lot more suction. It pulls that grass up straighter, so you get a much more even cut. Now, after doing those first few initial mows in the spring where I had 9-inch tall grass in between rains, I switched back to the mulching blade on the 1000 series mower, and it still handles everything well. There are no stragglers, there are no mohawks with that mulching blade. So if you're taking a normal amount of height off of your grass, maybe 1.5 to 2.5 inches, you're not gonna have any issues with any stragglers. Now with this mower, you've got a lot of similarities with the older 800 series. You push in the button here and you pull back the bail to start the motor. Now on this 2236 model, you've got your controls up here, you've got your light. You can turn on and off for if you're mowing at dusk. Here's those headlights coming on. You can see it just lights up the front of the mower. This does give you enough extra that you can mow at dusk, and the mower's quiet enough. It does have a little bit of noise, but it's a lot quieter than a gas mower, so your neighbors probably won't hate you for it. Now, something different with this mower versus the 2135 is this one has multiple speeds that you can adjust. The 2135, the 800 series mowers, if they hit a heavy patch of grass, you can hear the mower ramp up in its motor speed, but with this one, you can go ahead and set it higher. And even when you are in turbo, when I hit super thick patches of grass, I can hear this motor ramp up a little bit too. So you run it at a very high speed, you get good suction, and then if you really want efficiency, you can bump it down to speed 1. I still get a good cut quality in speed 1, but pretty much since I have plenty of battery life, I always run this in turbo and get the best cut quality I can. Now for self-propel, you can adjust this back and forth. You can turn it completely off, so if you push these buttons, nothing happens. And then you can turn it up and adjust the max speed you'll get out of it. And when you push either of these buttons, the self-propel motor engages. All right, we're gonna do a self-propel test on these real fast. Here we go. So as far as I can tell with these mowers, the self-propel is pretty much the same speed on them, but the 1000 series mower has a lot higher acceleration. It'll get almost a mower length out ahead before this one catches up and reaches and matches its speed. So that's good if you're going around a lot of corners. You can get back up to speed faster and take less time cutting. Now with this 2236, I run it in turbo all the time because I have a small yard. I have a 1/6 of an acre. With the 10 amp hour battery installed on this, I ran it it did my whole yard. In one instance when I checked afterwards, I had 3 bars left, and another time I had 4 bars left. So it's right at that edge of dropping to a 3rd bar, but it's pretty much like, it uses like 20% of the battery to cut my entire yard with a 10 amp hour battery. So this has excellent runtime, even on turbo. And then just to see apples to apples, I took my 7.5 amp hour battery from this mower and put it in the 2236, and I cut using speed 1, so I used the slowest speed, also with the bagging blade though, and I still had 3 bars left, same I have on my 2135 when I'm done mowing. So I think this thing has excellent efficiency. You're going to get a lot of cutting time out of it, especially with that 10 amp hour battery. Now, one big difference between these two mowers is where the cord is stowed for the handle up here. I know I've seen a lot of complaints about this getting pinched and broken with the 2135 because it's out here, it's exposed, it's all the way up the side. And when you stow that handle, you've got 2 clips, you push it down, and then you fold it up. There's the possibility that this gets pinched. If you have it go the wrong way, or maybe you've got something here, this could get damaged. With the 2136, there's no external cord anymore. So it's all stowed and managed inside these handles. Instead of having 2 clips on either side, you've got 1. I like that it's just a little bit easier to do that. There's no cord to manage. There's no cord to make sure it doesn't get pinched. They've got it all inside the handle. Now, another difference between these two mowers is the weight. The 2135 is around 50 pounds. I think this one's around 63. It's a bigger mower, it's heavier. And one thing I don't like, on the 2135, they had a front handle that you can grab. This one doesn't have that. So if you're picking it up, you've just got the back handle, and I guess you're just supposed to use the handle, which puts a lot of stress back here. With this one, you've got 2 grab handles right here, and it's a lot easier to pick up and move around. Both of these mowers stow upright, which all of Ego's mowers do. You just grab them and lift them, and they tuck away in the corner of the garage, which I really like. All right, so wrapping up, if you're still on the fence between the 800 series and the 1000 series mowers, I've had this thing for 4 years. It's worked great. I bought it when it was the year it came out, and I bought the 7.5 amp hour version, not the XP version, because I have a 1/6 of an acre, and I generally have pretty short grass that I'm mowing, so I don't need a ton of torque. So if I was gonna buy one of these mowers again myself, I would probably pick the 2135. Now, if you've got a bigger yard, or if you have tall grass and you need a lot of torque, this 22-inch super composite mower is awesome. The 1000 series is gonna step you up to, you'll always have enough power, you'll always get a good cut quality, you don't have to mess with which blade you put in there, and just the performance is gonna be 1 notch up. So if you've got a bigger yard, more than 1/4 of an acre, if you've got thick grass, or if you just want the best of the best, I would go with the 1000 series mower. I'll go ahead and put a link to both these mowers down below so you can price compare them. They go on sale a lot in the spring and early summer, so you might want to check for free battery deals or free tool deals that come with these. Those are often active anywhere between March and June usually. So hopefully this review was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments section below. I'd love to answer them if I can.